Hi, everybody. Welcome to another weekly edition of Flex and Reflect Sunday Sit Down. If this is the first time you're listening, this is where I answer all the questions that have been asked through the week, either sent in, asked by clients and stuff from around the world. So I've got a bunch of them today. I'll see if I can get through as many as possible, as I like to keep this to around 20 minutes. Sometimes I don't succeed with that. So I like to talk about these things. All right, let's go. How do I maintain my fitness levels while traveling or during extended periods away from my regular routine? This is a real challenge. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons why I don't like traveling, because I'm a very left brain person, which means I like everything that's to do with facts, numbers, statistics, logic, routine, all that kind of stuff. And for me, I've been training for 36 years. I know what works for me. I want access to my food. I want access to, the right gym equipment and everything to be able to do my workouts. And when you're traveling, it's really, really hard to do that, particularly if you're on holidays and trying to do it that way. Like, say you're traveling through Europe or something, you got no chance of being able to get access to everything that you normally would. And because I've been eating a certain way for so long, coming up in another 3 weeks or so, I'm traveling to the US, and I really struggle to get the amount of plant-based food into me that I would normally consume, because normally I've got easy access to it. I will be traveling. I won't have access to cooking facilities, all that kind of stuff. And it's just really, really hard to achieve that. So it certainly is a challenge. In terms of, first of all, let's stick with so I was talking about food there. Let's talk about the strength training. So what I like to do for my clients is, let's just say that you are like traveling in Europe, or you're doing a lot of travel from work, you're going from place to place to place. What I like to do is create programs for people that they can do in their motel room. Imagine you're in a jail cell. That's as little room as you need to be able to do these workouts. And I create a workout for them that may take anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes max, so that they can do it on the same day that they would normally train. Perhaps it's a different type of train. Like for me, I lift heavy weights in the gym. I can't replicate that with body weighted exercises, but I can still do a workout, and I can give my body a rest perhaps from doing those heavy weights, and I can focus on something else and still enjoy the process. So for me, it's about understanding what do you normally do in terms of your strength training and cardio training, and what do you enjoy? How much time have you got? Which time of the day you're going to do it? I always encourage people to do it like first thing in the morning. If that's the best time for you, get up a little bit early, 10 minutes earlier, do that, have your shower, get ready, go have your breakfast, do that sort of stuff. And if you want to add some more resistance, I get people to travel with like a resistance band, so they can do various exercises and add some resistance there as well. And so where possible, for me, for instance, I train on a Tuesday, a Thursday, and a Sunday for my strength training at the moment. I would aim to do my strength training on those same days. And that's what I will endeavor to do while I'm traveling. One thing that I do, because it's a very, very long flight from here, from Australia to the US. I'm going via another country this time. So, actual from the time that I leave home to the time that I arrive at the motel, it will probably be closer to 24 hours, I suppose, by the time I get there. One of the first things that I do is go to the gym there, and I do exercise, because my body is seized up a bit because of sitting and stuff. So I make sure that I do that as quickly as possible, move as much as I can as well, and go for walks. And that's the other thing to do while you're traveling. You're not always going to have access to the equipment that you want. I love walking, so I'll just get outside and I'll walk. I'll focus on still doing my 10,000 steps in a day. I just get up earlier, work later at night, something like that. To get it done. But you've got to be focused on it, right? When you're traveling for work, there's normally a lot of pressure on you. Well, I've got to do this, this, this before I go to that. So normally it's going to be first thing in the day, because the rest of your day is going to be captured by someone else and you won't have control over it. So do it first thing in the morning. What role does sleep quality play in fat loss, muscle gain, and overall fitness performance? So sleep is essential, right? We are putting our bodies through a whole bunch of stress every single day. There's the stress through the workouts and that. There's the stress of work, life, etc. And how that sort of lands in our body is it causes our bodies to be inflamed. And the only way to really get rid of that is through rest, that deep quality sleep, really. And we talk around 6 to 8 hours sleep, but you'll find that your athletes, your high performance athletes, they need more than that. Why? Because their body is taking pummeling. Sometimes if it's in a contact sport, they're taking a lot of pummeling. So they've got external, internal bruising. But just the volume of stress that we put through our body, if you are not sleeping properly, you don't recover. So you remain in this inflamed state, which means that your muscles are not going to repair, you're not going to recover. And so in answering them, can you produce what the impacts are going to have on fat loss? You're not going to have as much fat loss. You're not going to have as much muscle gain because your muscles are trying to repair, not getting enough sleep. Overall fitness performance, well, if you're tired, you're not going to perform as well. So it's super, super critical to do it. And like the older I get, I find that it takes me longer to recover from my workouts. It can take me longer to recover from, like I generally get like a chest infection once a year. This last week I was still a little bit red. I had a sty. I was on antibiotics. It seems to take me longer for my body to get over the antibiotics and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I need more sleep now than probably half an hour extra sleep I find now to work at the same level than I did, say, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I just need more. So you got to listen to your body, get in a good routine, and make sure you get into bed early enough. They're really valuable, the number of hours you get in quality sleep before midnight. All right. How can I prevent burnout when I feel mentally exhausted but still want to stay physically active? Yeah, it's a good question, kind of related to the previous question. At some point, if you are, and I have to be very conscious of this because I have a very busy schedule. I'm constantly pushing myself. I have very long days. My minimal day is probably 12 hours. Maximum is probably 16 hours of focus, like as focusing as much as I can, working with clients, doing coaching, etc. And I'm always pushing to grow myself. Like I live at the cutting edge of high end, performance, always looking to get out more from myself. And so if I don't take care of the key things that I'll talk about in a second to make sure that I can recover, then I will be burnt out just like anyone else. If I'm not sleeping enough, I'm going to be burnt out. So I have to be really mindful of those things. If you want to consistently push yourself physically and mentally, if you are not refilling your bucket of energy, and that energy is physical energy as well as emotional energy, then you're screwed. Is the bottom line. It will run out at some point because there's nothing left in the bucket. The bucket's empty. There's a hole in the bottom of the bucket. It keeps pouring out all the time. You've got to be able to find a way to do that. Now, for me, it's finding ways that really give back to you. So it is taking time out. Like for me, a way of giving back is doing my strength training, going for my walks. I do strength training 3 times a week. I do walking pretty much every single day to get up my 10,000 steps. I'm feeding myself really well to help feed my brain, help my body recover from the stresses that I'm putting myself through. And I have a wind down sequence at night, making sure that I'm taking out at least half an hour, to an hour for me, just to do whatever it is that I want to allow the brain to just go, or to let it go out. It's hard to switch your brain off. So I'll like just play some games on my phone to just shift my thinking somewhere else. I rarely watch a movie, but it's playing in the background while I might be doing something on my phone. Whether it's doing some meditation or some deep breathing exercise or something like that, something where you give back to you. Like I tried Tai Chi like about 10 days ago. I can't see myself doing it on an ongoing basis. I didn't love it. But finding some ways that really get back to you. Walking is a good one for me. So you've got to do that because you will burn out and you've got to have strategies to prevent that. And maybe it's not. I think if you think that just sitting down watching Netflix is going to help you prevent you from burning out, you're probably just going to be sitting there mindlessly or lying on the couch mindlessly and not really de-stressing. You're just kind of like a zombie, just watching. You've got to have some things where you're actively recovering. So that's why I like the walking and reflecting. All right, next question. What are the best ways to build muscle and strength with minimal equipment or body weighted exercises? So I have a client I'm working with at the moment on the other side of Australia, the furthest part from where I am to Australia you can travel. And he's got a little bit of a gym set up, but we're mainly working with really some body weighted exercise and some kettlebells, some resistance bands. And it's hard for me to prescribe right here exactly what it is, because it depends on the person that's asked the question, what your fitness goals are and that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, for me personally, to be able to achieve what I want to achieve, I'm not going to be able to achieve that through just body weighted exercises. Like take a squat, for instance. Like if I'm trying to replicate a 300 kilo leg press on a 45-degree angle leg press through body weighted exercises, I'm unlikely to do that. Could I hold a one-legged squat for 3 minutes and that be the equivalent of it? Yeah, but I'm now starting to work my muscles differently than I want to work them. So there are certainly ways that you can do exercise, say a push-up, for instance. So you watch some people and they just go like push-ups like this. So for instance, if you're doing a push-up, you could come down, hold for 2 to 3 seconds, for instance, and then just push up nice and slowly. Pause, really squeeze your pecs at the top, come down nice and slow, pause, 1, 2, 3, push back up. There's ways that you can still achieve some really good results. And this is like relating to the first question about doing workouts in the motel and when you're traveling and stuff, that you can still get some really good workouts. I've traveled with my TRX before, and that's a body weighted suspension system. That's the brand I mentioned, but you can find a local park, find somewhere to attach it to. You can do some workouts using that, doing some pull-ups and that kind of stuff. Sometimes I'd use a resistance band, and you can create a lot of force, like doing bicep curls or upright rows, or like seated rows and things like that. You just have to be sensible about it, probably slow down the process. Think about unilateral exercises. That means one side at a time. So for instance, the one-legged squats, for instance, like pistol squats and things like that, where that can help, making sure that you've got good balance and everything in place there. That can be another way that can help. It doesn't mean that you can't achieve a really great workout and achieve some really great results. It depends where you are in your fitness journey and the results you're looking for as to what an actual program would look like. But you can still achieve some really good results for sure. All right, next one. How can I incorporate mindfulness into my workouts to improve focus and reduce stress? So I guess it depends on what your perception of mindfulness is, because when I'm training, I'm not going to be sitting there thinking, if you think like a yoga pose, sitting out by the beach, eyes closed, and just allowing everything to, sort of, all the stress removed from your brain and all that kind of stuff. For me, mindfulness in a workout is about being really focused and thinking about, before you get into the gym or into the workout, what is the goal for today? What is the workout that I'm doing? What is my specific goal for today? Now, most of my clients, I'm looking at, we want to increase the weight on every exercise that we do, every single workout, every single week. Now, that means that, for instance, if I'm going into the leg press and I say I did 300 kilos last week, then this week I want to do at least 300.25 kilos, an extra 250 grams as a minimum. Or maybe it's 500, maybe it's 750, maybe it's a kilo, maybe it's a couple of kilos. But I'm aiming for every single exercise to go up in weight, right? And then knowing exactly the number of repetitions that I'm going to do, making sure I'm focusing on the form, thinking about how does this match into my bigger goal for the overall health and wellness for me as well. You should know all of that before you step into the gym. And then when you're in the gym, you're very focused. You know, okay, I'm doing these warm-up sets. I know, right, I've got to, by the end of this, whatever number set it is, I've got to hit this number because this was what I hit last time. I must hit this number here. So you put all your focus and energy into that. Where I find that people just wane and they're on their phone, you know, just searching for stuff on social media or taking a selfie. Like, hey, look, I'm in the gym, did a workout, fantastic. But that's not focus, right? I use my phone to track what it is that I'm doing for each set so I can see, all right, so what am I aiming to get for that next one? Then the phone goes, wow, I might be listening to the right music to get me in the right zone if the music playing in the gym is not great. But I know before I get in there. And so most people are not focused in the gym because they don't have a bigger goal that they're focusing on. So that's the key, making sure that you know what you're aiming towards. All right, let's go through a couple more questions. What's the best approach for balancing cardio and strength training for long-term heart health? Okay, so when I first started training back in 1988, I was only doing strength training. Like, it was a big powerlifting, bodybuilding gym. I wanted to put on muscle, and I I was conditioned to do just strength training. I hated the cardio because of what I associated with it. I thought it meant running and doing all that kind of stuff. This gym was really set up as a strength one. They had a couple of bikes and stuff, but it was really a weightlifting gym. Remember, it's back in 1988. Gyms look very different now. And it took me some time to find what is the right cardio for me and for my body. And the key is to find something that you really love. So like I said before, I really enjoy walking. Now, over my 36 years, I've tried the running. I used to do running on the yeah, it was bad for my joints. I just didn't enjoy the running. I used to like riding a bike, but I didn't want to ride the bike everywhere. I tried running on sand. That didn't excite me, and it was messy. You'd always be covered in sand by the end of it. I tried rowing. I've tried the stationary bike. I've tried elliptical trainers, rowers, your different styles of bike. I've tried the treadmill, all of those sorts of things, and none of it excites me. I've tried doing stuff in the pool. Yeah, I just haven't enjoyed it. And so what I realized was one of the reasons that I'm not doing the cardio in the way that I wanted to for my body and focusing on my heart health, which became an issue, well, not an issue, a focus more so as I got older, was walking. And I really enjoy that. Like, I did a leg workout this morning. It's a nice day. I went for a 5 kilometer walk and I really enjoyed it. Like, it's just nice being out in nature. So, but if that's not your thing, then don't do that. Find something that you really love. Now, the balance for me is 3 days of strength training. That's how I program all my clients. Sometimes it's 4. If it's a competitive athlete, sometimes it's 2 because of their in-season training and all that kind of stuff. And it may even be 2 in the off season, maybe 3, depends on what other training they're doing. And every day doing a little bit of cardio. Like I said before, every day I walk. That's a bit of active recovery. Sometimes I'm working faster than other days, but it's doing the kilometers. So sometimes it might take me 5 minutes longer to do it. But finding what it is that you really enjoy. But that's kind of the balance of it. Now, what a lot of people do is they do way too much cardio, not enough strength training. For me, it's about just getting that right. I say 3 strength sessions depending on your actual fitness goals, and doing cardio on the other days. To start with, if you're coming from scratch, I would say every day you're doing something. You're either doing a strength training day or you're doing some cardio and going for a walk, and just gradually look to increase your incidental walking each day. All right, good question. Next one. How can I adjust my nutrition and workout routine to accommodate changing fitness goals as I age? Well, it's a broad question. It depends on specifically whether you're training for something. If I can only relate I'll relate it to myself. So the way that I used to train and eat when I first started is very different to the way that I eat and train now. Why? Well, everything slows down. I can't lift as heavy weights or do the same exercise as I used to, just because of um, wear and tear on the body. My back is not the same as it used to be. So doing super heavy deadlifts is not something that I aspire to do anymore. Doing heavy back squats is not good for my back either because it really loads it up. Um, a key part of my health and fitness goals now is to be pain free. So doing flat bench press puts a lot of pressure on my shoulders. I've had 3 surgeries on my shoulders, and I just don't do that anymore. I do a 15-degree angle bench press, and I don't go super, super, super heavy and trying to get that 1 rep max kind of training. It's not, that doesn't fit with where my goals are now. So your goals will change over time, and I can't tell you what your goals are going to be. I just think what you need to do is think about always, I guess, like you're never going to reach the end goal because you're always raising the bar. You're always focusing on something, something that's kind of, I'll just say, next for you. I think make a part of your goals an overriding principle of any goal that you set. It has to be healthy, right? So if you're doing extreme training, if you are say eliminating food groups, certain healthy food groups from your daily eating, then they're huge red flags, and that's not life sustainable or long-term sustainable. So don't do that. Think about what is healthy, what is going to make you healthier, as well as whatever you aspire to be in your fitness, wellness, etc., etc. And yeah, look, some of the foods that I used to eat heaps of bananas every day. I used to eat a lot of bread every day. I tend not to do that now. I find that I get a bit of reflux with bananas. Doesn't mean I don't eat them, but I eat them rarely. I'll eat more colorful fruits that are probably work better for my body now. I find that bread doesn't work as great in my body now as perhaps it used to, whether that's just digestively or whatever. So I'm more mindful. Our metabolism, our metabolic rate slows down as we get older. So I can't eat as many calories as I used to and like get away with it to what it is that I do now. And I think that, look, when I first started, I was not focusing on, hey, how can I be the healthiest I can be? For me, it was about how do I be stronger? How do I get bigger muscles? Now, I think a key part for me, as well as I'm getting older, I want to make sure I'm fueling my brain properly. I'm feeding that constantly. And when I'm eating, then I'm eating highly nutritious food. I guess I'm at a higher risk now as I'm getting older that when you get into your 50s and 60s, that's where I see with my clients a lot of health issues can show up. My family tree is not tremendously healthy, so I need to just take extra care to make sure that that's important for me. So what I would suggest is that if you want some more information on that, reach out for the free consultation at studiospt.com.au and we can have a conversation about it. All right, I'm going to do one more question. Uh, all right. Which one will I've got 3 more here. What's the importance of functional movement in everyday life and how can I improve it through training? Okay. Well, if you think about the things that you do on a functional day, we take a lot of things for granted that you don't realize until you are injured. That's, oh man, I didn't realize that I used that so much. So I find that most people cannot squat effectively. I'm talking about squatting down and picking something off the floor. What most people tend to do is bend over and pick something up without bending their knees properly. They're lifting through their lower back. And as we get older and weaker, it puts a lot of emphasis on our lower back. So think about the things that we do functionally. Think about squatting down to take the washing out of a front-loading washing machine. Think about pegging things up on a clothesline. Think about reaching for things up high. Think about unpacking a dishwasher. Most people just bend at the hips and take things out rather than squatting down properly and doing that. So any of the coaching programs that I do with people, all the exercise that we do, it's a whole body type of program, which has functional movements in there, which means that I get even my elderly clients to practice deadlifts. Now, are they doing hundreds of kilos of deadlift? No. But every single person needs to know how to do a deadlift. Why? Because it's such a functional move. I say the word deadlift, and people think, oh my God, you can't do a deadlift at that age. Or I could call it picking up the washing basket. It's the same motion, but most people don't do that motion correctly. And if we can make our elderly stronger, then obviously that means less falls, less broken hips, less strain on the hospital system, less early deaths, etc. So it's really great. So it's super important. And all the workouts that I do, it greatly assists in, like, as in for myself, greatly assists me in my functional everyday movements, where I spend a lot of my day in between coaching sessions sitting right here at my desk and doing work. That's not good for my back. So that's why I need to make sure that I'm getting out and I'm doing my 10,000 steps. It helps with my lower back. And it just helps with the mindset as well, and getting away from these screens and that light. And you want to get some natural light into your eyes. It's good for your eye health, which is something that we often neglect. So the key is to incorporate whole body workouts. Don't just work on the muscles that you think are looking sexy or whatever. Work on the whole body, making the whole body stronger. And if you need a hand with that, again, go to studiospt.com.au. The link's below in the comments, and I'll give you a free consult, free workout, show you how you can achieve that for you. All right, I'm going to end it there. Thanks for all those questions this week, everybody. Keep them in. If you want to send some in, just reach out on social media to Rob Evans. My name's at the bottom of the screen there. You'll find me across every social media platform. And keep the questions rolling. Have a great weekend and great week. See you next time.